Hi there, I'm Neil, also known as the Hairy Man, and today I'm going to talk to you about special weapon calls in the Empire live role-playing system. And this video is going to be about the Cleave call. To be able to call Cleave, you will most likely need to buy the correct skills. There's artisan items and magical means to perform Cleave, but they're beyond the scope of this video, so if you want to look into that, then your best bet is to check out the Empire wiki pages. So, in order to utilise Cleave, you firstly need to have the hero skill. This costs 2 points to buy the first rank and will provide you with 2 hero points. Each subsequent rank gives 1 extra hero point, and the cost to buy it increases by 1 each time. So, second rank costs 3 points, third rank costs 4 points, and so on. Hero points on their own can be used to overcome some roleplay effects, but they are mainly used to power heroic skills. Now, Cleave is one kind of heroic skill. It costs 1 point to buy, and it is the heroic call that can be used with the widest variety of weapons. So, to summarise which weapons you can use it for, you can't make a heroic call with a weapon less than 24 inches. You can call Cleave with any weapon that is between 24 and 84 inches long, but it must be a melee weapon, so you can't call it with a thrown javelin, for example. You also can't call Cleave with any magic implement, so you can't call it with a mage staff or a mage rod. And when you call Cleave, there should be what is referred to as appropriate roleplay, to roleplay making a mighty blow. Now, this is open to interpretation, so I'm not to say what does or doesn't constitute appropriate roleplay. So let's talk about some examples. If you block a Cleave with a shield or a buckler, it causes no damage to you, and also it does not expend the use of the Cleave to the person performing the Cleave. So if you get hit on the arm and you're either wearing no armour or light armour, what that means is if you've got something in that hand, you should drop what you're holding and you lose 1 global hit. And you can't use that arm until it receives healing. Even if your global hits get fully restored, you still can't use that arm until something, be that an apothecary preparation, or by a physic or a surgeon healing the limb, or a mage using a restore limb spell or a ritual that heals limbs. So I could be healed back up to full hits, but if my arm was cleaved, it would still just hang uselessly by my side. I wouldn't be able to use it. If you get hit on the leg with a Cleave, same thing. You should stop using that leg and you should safely go to the floor. You don't have to make a big deal about throwing yourself on the floor, or the key thing is you should go to the floor safely. Now, you can't continue to fight on your knees like you're playing some kind of pantomime dwarf. So, no fighting from the knees. You can fight from on the ground, but again, you must try to be as safe as you possibly can. And like the previous example, you must have healing that targets the Cleave before you can use that limb again. So you can't walk until there is something that specifically heals the cleaved condition of your leg. Now, other characters can move you. So one person, if they're using both hands and can represent either dragging or carrying a person who's not able to use their leg. Now, this doesn't mean that you should just be a dead weight and not cooperate. You can walk because it's a roleplay thing, and not everyone is actually physically strong enough to pick you up and drag you, and it's not safe. So you can walk if someone has both hands on you and they are effectively dragging or carrying you. 2 people can also move you, and they can then utilise an item in their other hand. So two people can pick you up and they could still use a shield or a weapon in the other hand to defend themselves and you. And importantly, if you are going to move someone who's had their legs cleaved or whatever, or they're unconscious, please just quickly out of character check for their consent that you can touch them and do that role play before you do it. It's just polite. Now, the big one, getting cleaved in the torso. That's a little bit more serious. If you've got no armour or light armour on your torso and you're hit there with a cleave, you should fall to the floor safely and immediately lose all remaining global hits. So if you're from being only on one global hit to being on all of your global hits, that's it, takes it away. And you are now on what is called your death count. Now typically this is 3 minutes as standard, but if you have done something to improve your fortitude skill, or you are under the effect of certain rituals or potions, it may be longer. It can drop to as little as 30 seconds if you are affected by venom. If you can count down to 0, then you are in a condition that is called terminal. That means that you will die before the next event. There's nothing that can be done to prevent it. And you don't have to die immediately. This is to allow people to have some kind of role play around their death, have tearful deathbed scenes or what have you. But it's equally as valid to go, you know what, I'm dead, I'm just going to go and create a new character. That's equally valid as well. Any healing that you receive before your death count reaches 0 will stop your death count and will bring you back to a place where you can move around normally. Unlike being cleaved to a limb, being cleaved to the torso doesn't require that you have a specific thing done to fix your torso. So somebody even just coming up and restoring one hit to you, you'll be able to get up and move around if your other your other in-character injuries allow it. So, what happens with Cleave and other armours? If you're wearing a medium or a heavy armour and you are struck on the armour by a Cleave, then none of the effects of Cleave that we mentioned before happen. So, if I'm wearing thick leather vambraces or metal vambraces on my arm and I am hit by someone and they call Cleave, I don't have to immediately stop using my arm because my medium or heavy armour piece blocks it. Now, you still have to take the one hit. No amount of armour, no matter how heavy, is going to stop you from taking that one hit. One thing I will say is if you do have only one hit remaining and you're hit with Cleave, it would be polite to inform the person that the Cleave didn't affect you, but losing the one hit did put you down. It's only polite so they don't waste their use of Cleave. So, in summary, any melee weapon over 24 inches to a maximum of 84 inches can be used to call Cleave. You can't do it with a mage implement. If the target doesn't seem to take the Cleave, you haven't wasted the use of the Cleave. Even if your armour blocks the Cleave, you must still take one hit. No being on your knees and continuing to fight if you've been cleaved to the leg. Thanks for watching. Hopefully this is going to be the first one in a series of videos talking about special calls. Hope you enjoyed it, and I hope that when this quarantine thing is all over, we'll all see each other on the field at Empire. Thanks a lot.